Call to order the CRA Board meeting this Wednesday, November 9th, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. I'll lead with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by Board Member Katz with the invocation. Would everyone please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The United States of America is the greatest democracy in the world and is the best democracy that's ever existed.
May I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Grant.
Here.
Vice Chairman Craig.
Here.
Mr. Katz.
Here.
Ms. Roberts. Present. Mr. Costello.
Here.
Moving on to additions, deletions, corrections to the agenda. I'd like to pull item E of the consent agenda. Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Informational items and disclosures by board members and CRA staff. I got nothing to disclose. Vice Mayor McCray.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I have no disclosure. First of all, I'd like to echo on what Board Member Katz said, and that is that, you know, as America heal, I do pray and hope that Boynton will heal as well. I also like to say that I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony of our dog park. Awesome event. I'd like to say kudos to our interim CRA director, Michael Simon. The reason I'm saying this is that I got a phone call, and they said at the cleanup you was picking up tables. Your young lady was going to get them, and you told us that no, you have no business doing that. And she was touched by that, and I just want to tell you thank you. We do still have some gentlemen still left in the world. Thank you for being one of those.
Thank you.
I'd like to say in regards to Souls to the Polls, it was an awesome event. I'd like to say thanks to everyone who participated, those who helped plan it. Although we hit a few roadblocks, but you know, with the creative maker of all mankind, all things turn out to be possible. Just want to say thank you. That concludes.
Board Member Katz.
I originally had a meeting scheduled today with some representatives of the property on the corner of Federal and Boynton, but that got postponed until next week. So I'll be sitting down with the property owners and their legal to discuss the potential site plan and their proposal next Wednesday. I also was at the ribbon cutting for the dog park, and just it's in District 1. It's a couple hundred yards from where I live. I've been going there every day since then because it's walking distance, and I got my dog and everything, and there's people there all hours of the day, not just a handful of people, 10, 20 people. So it's one of those things that if you go there and you look around, it's not as common anymore to see just gatherings of people because we don't have necessarily the open space, so it makes me happy that we have it there, and I look forward to the opportunity when we find an appropriate piece of land on the east side of town to offering that to the residents over here so that they can kind of partake in the great experience that's having an area for your dog to play and for you to socialize as well with these other dog owners who are members of your neighborhood and your community.
Board Member Castillo?
I'd just like to say, some of you may or may not know, I've been out of town for the last week and a half or so. My mom passed, and I'd just like to say thank you for all your thoughts, prayers, and condolences. It was very comforting to the family, so thank you.
Board Member Romulus?
I have nothing for the moment. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We proceed with announcements and awards, the results of the 5th Annual Boynton Beach Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash.
Tracy Smith Coffee, Boynton Beach CRA, Marketing and Business Development. Boy, did we have a successful Pirate Fest this year. I'm very happy to provide you with the results from the touch ball screen and the agenda item. As you know, October 22nd and 23rd, the CRA and the City of Boynton Beach hosted the 5th Annual Boynton Beach Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash. Last year's event drew approximately 60,000 people. This year, the attendance was estimated at 80,000. 46 of those who attended were from the ages of 35 to 54. 57 were first-timers, which is great. And on our website, we can track where the people are looking at our website. And believe it or not, Miami Beach was one of the top people who went to our website to find out about Pirate Fest. So that's pretty exciting. And Orlando. 55 came with children ages 17 and under. And 77% were people in Palm Beach County, and 87% were outside of the Boynton Beach area, City of Boynton Beach area. So, with that said, the estimated economic impact was approximately $1.5 million. Though 72% of the people visited local businesses before and after, such as restaurants. Two Georges and Banana Boat were rocking. Of course, Kim Kelly's restaurant was doing really well. And 93% plan to spend $50 or more. So that's really good news. 62% of the people said that they would come to our community events. And 55% said they would like to attend future events. And 63 said the events changed their perception of Boynton Beach. So those are really good percentages, and we did really well this year. A lot of people were very happy. It was nice to see a lot of families having fun. The kids were having fun. The parents were smiling. It was a great event.
I had some questions from people who went to it and went online kind of in real time to see what type of exposure we were kind of producing, on social media. Is there the criticism was that there wasn't necessarily a lot of social media postings in real time to kind of draw people in through the network of seeing a picture and saying, oh, I'm going to go to that. Is there kind of a plan in place to make sure that we're doing regular updates to social media as events unfold so that people who might not be aware or maybe aren't paying attention see a picture and we catch them, those people on the periphery, or anything
We do a social media campaign on Facebook. We have 2 Facebook pages. We have the Boynton Beach CRA Facebook page, and we also have the Boynton Beach Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash page. We were doing continuous blasts on Facebook. Also, we have a Twitter account. We were tweeting. I know that Christopher was doing Instagram. So we were covering the social media.
I'd just like to say that thank you for changing the holiday banners. My take is that I've seen a couple banners that with the wind was down. I picked them up. I brought them over to the office. And I'm having like problems. I'm just saying we have city employees and city vehicles. They passing by them. They don't even stop and pick them up. I'm just saying this is citizens' money. I'm just all you do is just stop, scoot out, pick it up. You know where to take it. Just bring it into City Hall. I'm just saying we need to take care of what we already invested in. I also met with Michael the other day, and I explained to him about the banner on the side of City Hall right here. The assurement's going to be taken down. I don't know if you all got around to it, but
We have, right now, we are in the process of production for a holiday banner that size. The city is paying for that banner. Eleanor's taking care of that. So we didn't want to take down that banner and be charged again to put up the other banner. So when the other banner is almost done in production, it should be done this week, they'll take that banner down and put up the holiday banner. So.
Okay, let me just go ahead and continue. My whole take is that when we're doing something like that, I'm one of those that believe in communication. Just tell me thank you, Vice Chair. It's being looked into, there's one that's going up. I'm just saying, if you'd have said something about it, I wouldn't even made mention of it tonight. I will only address the banners that was in the road. Thank you. Job well done, though.
Okay.
I'm happy.
Yeah. I attended both days. I brought my parents for Saturday. I ended up leading the parade with Tracy. We had a great time. How many people were in the parade again?
We had record people in the parade this year. We had, I don't know the exact count, but we did have a lot of dance troupes, the YMCA, some high school baton twirlers. There was a lot of people.
Over 100, would you say?
Yeah, I would say around 100. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was hoping for.
Right, just like to make mention for the record, Board Chair Casello, you wasn't there, but I did see your wife there with another gentleman, but she assured me that, okay, thank you.
Thank you for looking out.
All right. I guess moving on to the FRA awards.
That would be me. Okay. As you know, we won 2 awards at the FRA conference. The awards dinner was held on October 13th at the Hilton in Orlando. And this year, the Boynton Beach CRA has earned the award for Outstanding Rehab and for the Healing Hearts Project, and the Cultural Enhancement Award for the Boynton Beach Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash. We had a table at the breakfast the next day, and a lot of people from other cities were very impressed with the Healing Hearts Project, how we combined 2 buildings, as their grant recipients combined 2 buildings into one to make that Healing Hearts grounds. So we had a lot of people asking about that project, and also the Haunted Pirate Fest. They loved we had a big picture of actually it's the photo that we won internationally and for state for the event photo. We had a board that was blown up, and they were really interested in the Pirate Fest as well. So I think our table was the best at the breakfast.
I would agree. I was there.
Next, we got, as soon as you're done, you can move on to the next one if you're doing Music on the Rocks and the movies and holiday events. Oh, we got someone new. Thank you, Tracy.
Good evening, Mercedes Coppin, Boynton Beach CRA, Marketing Events and Economic Development Assistant. We officially kicked off our Music on the Rocks season in conjunction with Pirate Fest. It was our kickoff concert for Pirate Fest. We had Gold Dust Lounge and Grinda Nova out. It had a great turnout, lots of families out to kick off the first night of Pirate Fest, and it was a great event. Our next Music on the Rocks event will be on Friday, November 18th at 7 p.m. Musical selections will be provided by String Theory, a band that plays rock, reggae, classic, pop, and everything in between. Food and drinks will be available for purchase from the Food Truck Invasion vendors, and we'll also have potions and motions on site. Should I move on to movies in the park? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we officially kicked off our Movies in the Park last Friday with a showing of Disney's Frozen. Families in attendance were delighted by the playful movie, and many of the children got up during the musical scenes to dance underneath the stars. It was a great night, and we had a fairly nice turnout. There will be no movie in December because of the upcoming holiday events, so the next flick will be shown on January 6th at 7 p.m. And the holiday tree lighting. The 46th annual holiday tree lighting concert will take place on December 2nd on Ocean Avenue between Seacrest and Northeast 1st Street. This family-friendly event kicks off at 5:30 with the tree lighting ceremony taking place at 6:30 p.m. in front of the Schoolhouse Children's Museum. And then the concert and festivities will continue until 10 p.m. Attendees can look forward to live music, food and beverages provided by local vendors, children's activities, and a meet and greet with good old St. Nick. The following day on December 3rd, at 11 p.m. will be the 46th annual holiday parade. And then we have the 45th annual Boynton Beach and Delray Beach holiday boat parade, which is taking place exactly one month from tonight on December 9th from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Boynton Harbor Marina. The boat parade will kick off at the Old Key Limehouse near the Lantana Bridge, make its way through Boynton, and culminate at the C-15 Canal in Delray Beach. We are currently accepting registrations for boats, and you can find the entry form and additional information about the event at www.catchboynton.com. Festivities at the Boynton Harbor Marina will include live music, children's activities, and a visit from Santa Claus. Two Georges will have food and beverages available for purchase, and we are also partnering with the Marine Toys for Tots, who will be collecting toys the night of the event from docks along the parade route. Thank you.
I have a comment. I want to tell you, congratulations on your first time presenting before us. Slow down. We're not bad. Michael looks bad. The rest of us were good. You did an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't be nervous. Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the consent agenda, I pulled item E, the legal changes made to the economic development grants. My main concern was the interior facade, where we're requiring 50% additional build out to get the grant funding. The question is that, let's say they have one, they've been in the CRA for so many years, and they're trying to redo it for the future, and they can't get the extra 50% space. I'm kind of in the senses that, that we don't have to have the 50% requirement to get the commercial facade. That way, any of the existing businesses can still get that grant to make their business better, not just trying to expand their storefront because they may be renting for long term and don't have the option available. And so I'd kind of like to take that language out to remove the 50% requirement for interior facades.
How long has it been like this?
From the inception of the program, and
How productive have we seen this grant? How effective do people use it?
Extremely productive for the new businesses or businesses that are leaving their current location, perhaps either out west or somewhere within the CRA district and finding a new place. But I think that and of course the idea was to try to be an incentive for new business coming in, but I think there's a good point being made that there are existing businesses that are kind of sized out, but maybe they want to do a massive renovation to the interior that isn't expanding the square footage by half as much as it is now, that could certainly benefit from the grant. And I think that after doing it with that requirement for the last 4 or 5 years, I think that that's from a staff level, it just expands those that can take advantage of it even more.
Have we seen anyone have that difficulty that Mayor Grant is addressing in terms of being sized out and they would like to do it, but they don't have 50% growth to move into?
Generally, those that know of the grant would not, if they don't qualify, we haven't received a call saying, I wish I...
Probably limited those who maybe would have potentially
Right.
wanted to.
They might have applied for another part of a grant or just forgotten it altogether and just done their work. But I do think that there's certainly businesses we're seeing, renovating or enhancing their current configuration of the interior that would benefit from it, certainly, if you want to make it available.
Could there be a downside to this? Potentially changing that?
Just more people using it? No, I wouldn't think so.
But we do have a cap on our grants, correct?
Yes, all the other conditions would apply, all of the other restrictions and obligations of the grantee. Just remember, application doesn't guarantee award. So you certainly would be able to review each application and provide your input and approval depending.
And
all the categories would stay the same. Everything, just that one little requirement would be reduced or taken away.
My take on this is that as long as there will not be a downsize, there will not be a hardship, anything that comes forward, I'm in favor of go ahead and let's legal change the language to 50% facade. I don't have a problem with that. I like to offer a motion that we do change that.
Is there any other criteria that should be put forth in place of that? Because what happens if everybody, everybody's going to want to renovate if that requirement's reduced? Is there anything that should be put in place of the absence of that one to make sure that we're getting people who are doing certain things, not just kind of redoing their interiors?
Well, there's a requirement for existing businesses to have been in operation for 3 years or more. So you have a business that is established in the community. We wouldn't take that away. The matches, the financial obligation for the applicant is still the same. So they're still putting forth the required amount, and usually it exceeds by great percentages the individual's financial obligation to the project as well as ours. So we have been, knock on wood, considerably under, and by virtue of the grant, we will always be under their portion of private investment. The only thing you could do is I'm afraid if you take away the 50% and up the years of being here to say 5 or 8 years, you just keep narrowing down those, and you might defeat the purpose of looking at an existing business that's maxed out square footage but wants to do renovations that involve interior work, like a new kitchen or changing walls or configuration to add seating. Those are the kinds of things you might have Hurricane Alley or there's many restaurants or what have you here that you would do that would apply.
And it's, we do have ineligible businesses that aren't able to get the grants. We don't have a limit on our build-out, our permit grant for this, so they could still be able to get the permit grant as well. And I think we do have a requirement that if they don't own the building, that they have to have so much time left on the lease. Is that? So, the whole point is that we don't want to, spend all this money for it to get torn down.
Well, you could even specify a duration of the lease, not just a multi-year lease, but if you're an existing business that isn't expanding beyond 50% of your current size, that you must be in a lease of up to 5 years remaining or 10 years remaining. You could certainly secure your investment a little bit with an existing business like that. That's a simple way to go.
Okay. And what is it currently with the existing lease? The time left? Because I think I'd like to say it has at least 5 years left on their lease or more.
Well, you have to be in a multi-year lease, but there's not a back end amount on existing businesses. So that's a missing specification.
So that would be the downside, is that we do all of this, we give all this money to the business, and then they said, hey, we don't want to be here anymore. But then the question is that they spend all that money, and now they're just leaving it.
So I think you'd want to put a remaining amount of years left on the lease. Staff would in reviewing it, if you hadn't done that tonight, we would certainly point that out to you, that there's 6 months left on the lease, and we would, recommend not doing that. But for the applicants to have a specified time left on their existing lease, I think is perfect.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't go less than 5 years then, if you're going to do that.
I was going to say, at least 3 years, minimum of 3 years.
Okay.
To keep in with that they've been in operation for 3 years, that they have at least 3 years remaining on the lease, and that way, we know that things are going to go well. I also appreciate the new language for the PACE program that's in there, and that just makes things so much better, because this is a matching grant after the business spends the money. This way, they can get their own funding from the equity left in the building as well, if they own the building. So this is almost creating incentive for businesses to buy their own building as well.
I'd like to ask the question of staff. Since we started our new fiscal year, October 1, how much money do we have in that grant?
Susan's on her way up.
Harris, Finance Director. We have a total of $572,000. However, $300,000 for new businesses. $272,000 is allocated for 480 and 211 contractually for those two buildings. So the answer to your question is $300,000 for new businesses.
So would we need to amend the line item to allow for existing businesses to get access to that 300,000?
No.
Okay. So it's not just for new businesses. It's
for existing and new businesses.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. Sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. So we have
New
300,000
allocations.
available for existing and new businesses for commercial interior build-outs, which is a max of 25,000.
That amount is for all of the grants. It's just a one big pool. So
Okay.
it's not linked to individual line items of grants.
Okay.
So it's kind of a first come, first serve.
Come, first serve.
Yes.
And I also didn't see okay. And then, let's get this motion done before I have another question on something else. So we have a motion to approve as amended, removing the 50% build-out requirement for 50% for existing businesses of 3 years, and including a minimum of 3 years remaining on the lease.
I just want to clarify, it already has that it's a minimum of 2 years, so you want to change that to 3 years? What is this referring to here, least?
The 2 years is for a new business that has just signed a lease and is opening. The 3 years that was mentioned by the board chair was for an existing business that wanted to improve, that we have some secured time on the back end. But we only provide the grants to applicants, new businesses that have just signed a multi-year lease, not a year-to-year lease. We would want the multi-year lease for investment on our part.
So, would the board prefer to keep it the same with 2 years for new businesses and existing businesses, or?
I'm in favor of keeping it 2 years, and the reason for that is we have not had a problem thus far, and I'm just saying, why, create something when there's no need to
Okay.
create it.
Michael, I have a question. When people sign these leases, what do they usually sign up for? Is it a 3, 5? What's the lease on average?
I would say on average it's a 5, minimum
years.
of 3,
Yeah.
because the tenant and landlords are looking for a 3 to 5 year with options to renew. But generally, we just put the 2-year multi-year because not all of the buildings are like a Marina Village or a Las Ventanas with sophisticated. It might just be a single building with maybe a little more turnover, or a less sophisticated landlord that wants that option to get those people out if they're not. But generally, they're all here.
So a 2-year, if we amend it to have keep that 2 years on the back end, we would recoup our investment basically.
I want to make sure that you all are clear as the board. If you're a new business, we require your lease to be a minimum of 2 years, a multiple year lease with a minimum of 2 years.
Right.
If you are an existing business coming for the grant, the discussion is how much left on their lease should there be.
Ever had that clause before? Are we adding that now?
We are adding that now. That was brought up by the board chair. But remember, the existing business had to expand by half of its space. So by virtue of that, they have either relocated into a new space with a new lease that certainly would be long enough to warrant the investment, or they've expanded and their existing lease with the landlord by adding that much space has extended. So it kind of almost happens by itself.
May I, just for clarity, if you guys want to know where the language that I think you're talking about is, it's it's on the first page of the agenda item regarding the grants. In the third paragraph defines the terms new business and existing business. And I believe the proposal on the table is to add a clause in the definition to existing business to say an existing business means a company that has been in operation within the CRA district for a minimum of 2 years at the time of the application, and then to add a clause that says and has at least 2 years left on its lease.
Right. Okay, and that we would be taking out the I guess, clause number 5 for eligibility requirements and any other remaining coinciding clauses.
Correct.
So we're going with 2 years?
Yes, 2 years. Okay. Yep. So we have a motion and a second for 2 years and removing the 50% expansion for existing businesses. All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, motion pass. I know this wasn't on the rent reimbursement grant, that hasn't changed? And so it's the same as last year. Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, the remaining items?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Information only, the public comment log. We should receive 3 comments. Does the board want me to go through them?
You can go through them for
No,
the citizens.
Okay.
I have them.
All right. So we received 3 comments on October 24, 2016 from Megan Marie. She was very gracious for finding her lost wallet at the Pirate Fest. We got an email and phone call from Susan Chaffel saying that the Pirate Fest is amazing, but the city needs to be cleaned up. The city needs good, healthy food restaurants. And that Tracy spoke with her. And the last comment was on October 28th, an email from Brown Acid Records, who participated in the CRA Pirate Fest. He loved the event and was very happy, and he was very pleased, and he did very good business from the event. I guess, Tracy, you want to do the marketing and business development campaign? I'll just take care of it. We have 3 when we were marketing, we did it in the Boynton Forum, the neighborhood news, the attraction and hotel touchscreen, Palm Beach Post, the New Times billboards, Delray Beach newspaper, and the Coastal Star posters and postcards for Pirate Fest and the Mermaid Splash. And then that's just the advisory board agenda and minutes.
Hold it, before we go any further, we are receiving a return on our investments in these. You could, by the time just a yes would have been fine, but go ahead.
Got to do it on record.
Yeah.
Yes, I was very busy from promoting Pirate Fest and also the beginning of the budget cycle, which is a lot of things are due as far as the Discover the Palm Beaches ad and a lot. So, and also Holiday. We're in the middle of production for Holiday as well. Thank you.
Okay. Now we're up to public comments. Does anyone have any comments to make? Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Splashdown Divers. Address is, we have 2, 700 Casa Loma Boulevard is where the boat is, and 100 Northeast 6th Street, Unit 108 is where our business location is. I've had a business in the marina for 35 years. Been through a lot of hard times because of the things that have happened. Most of them have turned out just fine. And I'm sure that what you're doing now in the marina is going to be beautiful. But I'm here because I have to let you know how devastating it is right now to the businesses that are there. We have zero walk-by traffic because we've been blocked off from getting to our boats on foot. That means people can't walk through the marina anymore to see the boats that are available for charter, and it has hugely impacted my business. I don't know what you can do about it. I hear it's going to be quite a while before it's finished. I appreciate so much last month you gave us all rent consideration. I will not ask you for that again. I know you have no income if we don't pay rent. I understand that. I don't know what to do to save my business after 35 years if I can't show people that I'm there. You took down the dive shop building, which was me. You moved my dive boat, which was me. People think I'm out of business. Now, the people that are supposed to be walking through the marina don't even see it where it is. Thank you for your consideration.
Yeah, can I ask Mike a question?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything we can do to help alleviate this, why this construction is going on? Do you have any ideas how we might be able to help the businesses down there? Why this is construction?
Well, we can add some signage, I think, in listening to Ms. Simmons speaking, that are directing maybe a little better direction on how to get to the vessels. The drive aisle is open, so vehicles can drive along the front of the slips now. They can unload in front of the boats. There was a couple-week period where the drive aisle was closed, and we were providing access through the Two Georges Marina valet spot, which was, I mean, he was working very well with us on allowing certain spaces within his valet lot to be used for unloading and loading. We hired a service to help those cars find those spaces and help people get out of the car and to the vessel.
What can we designate an area like a walkway, which foot traffic? Could we do something like that?
I'll contact Collage within the confines of obvious, life safety issues.
Sure.
We can do that. It's going to be bypassing the site where construction is. There's no way to enter the boardwalk as you would have before and just walk straight. You'd have to go around to essentially the drive aisle. But I'll work with them on some way that we can have a better defined pedestrian access. Right now, you would go in front of the Marina Village office and then cross over. But if you're used to doing something the same all the time, we can do something about that.
Thank you.
How much time's projected left on the completion of the project?
I would say about at least 45 days. They have, which puts it middle of December. They want out of there before January 1st. We have uncovered, and I will be sending you pictures of what they've uncovered on the site that was completely unexpected, that has created delay after delay. There's seawall upon seawall and sidewalk upon sidewalk right where the helical piers that are required to vertically support the weight of the boardwalk that we're building and the seat wall that we're building. At each almost bulldozer removal, there's something else that's kind of in the way. There's been a tremendous amount of concrete trash, just pieces of concrete. We have the tides that are coming and creating a water condition by virtue of just the changing tides, so that you only have a certain amount of time that site machinery can operate. You're looking at like a 4-hour window each time. The slab itself was reinforced with about 4 times the steel that was projected to be in it, and until they broke through it, they couldn't know. So now they've got to regroup and find out how to demolish the slab as it was. So we lose a day here, a 2-day here. Weather, obviously, at different times has, I think, fortunately or unfortunately for the vessels, the weather the last month, as you know, with the wind, hasn't been ideal, which, as a contractor, you're mixed emotion, happy and sad that the weather's bad, but it's good for our production because we're not on top of everyone as they're trying to load the boat on a beautiful day. But again, I'm very thankful that we have Collage. They are just tackling every single thing that they run into as professional and experienced as I could ever have hoped they would be. There are just, unfortunately, things where the helical piers are, we're in a condition now where we're dealing with the geotechnical engineers on site. I was there for 2.5 hours last week trying to resolve an issue of how to get the helical piers through these 4 to 5 foot layers of concrete without having to redesign and then move the helical piers here or there and go back through permitting and back through. So now it's a group think of how to change the condition. How do we get through? So just today, we are dealing with 2 options, one of which is to cut at each individual helical pier location through the concrete to provide access. The other is to try to remove all of that existing concrete. The danger is you don't know what effect it will have on the underlying seawall that is existing. So at each 10 or 20-year period, the seawall that existed, a new one was built a foot away, and then a sidewalk, and then a foot away and a sidewalk. So you have this kind of historical, it's like archaeology in a way, right? You just keep uncovering.
Over the past 90 years.
Right, and the design engineers don't want to disturb, if it's solid and it's not sinking and it isn't subsiding at all, let's not over disturb and create a condition that now we've really opened up too much. The road work was fabulous. I mean, they were redesigning that on the fly. It's almost becoming an as-built project because you're adjusting to conditions unforeseen.
You want to continue?
Yeah, that'll be real quick. Just
Sure.
You said you guys kind of didn't have knowledge just because of the time frame of development on that property and everything over 90 years or whatever. Like you guys had no real knowledge of what was underneath.
Limited knowledge. Limited.
And then, is there, with regards to cost overruns or anything like that, is any of this going to lead to additional cost to the CRA, or is that just
not exceeding the contingency for the project? Right now, we've been able to offset some of the work with FP&L that we anticipated with the removal of the transformer, which was going to cost about I think we put a $15,000 or $20,000 allotment to move the transformer from its existing location to another. FP&L, I can't tell you the different frustrations of the project as far as outside agencies are concerned, but the day we all met to start the project, FP&L decided that we were not going to be allowed to move the transformer after 3 years of having the drawings, and you can imagine the different levels.
Into the microphone, Mike.
The different levels of frustration that we were experiencing. But having said that, we're trying to pick off these adjustments through the existing line items that we're not going to be using. We haven't had to exceed that yet. This helical pier issue may take us out of the base contract, but not even close to beginning to hit the contingency significantly. And obviously, the goal of Collage is to do this project at the minimal cost increase to us, and they have done so very successfully throughout the years of working with them. And I think they're as cost conscious as anyone would imagine a contractor could be. They're almost an owner's rep with regard to the subs.
My quick thing is that as the landlord for the marina, can we get open while construction sign put in just so that the people walking by or driving by know that it's open? I know that,
Sure.
On Woolbright, there's, sometimes when you see construction, you think the business is closed, and having that sign there, I think, I don't know, is that something that we can just do without?
We can have that, absolutely. Yes,
So, yeah, if we can get that
made.
done
I'll
within a
work
week
on
or
it
so.
tomorrow. It's
Just-
very open. The visual is open of the area, but I
I
understand
remember walking
that
by
there's a
just
distraction.
there's that distraction. So having
sir.
the marinas open while construction going on, I think that will help the businesses a little bit.
My take is that since we seem that we're going to have other problems, I'm just saying then the best person I feel right now who could help us solve this problem is a lady that's standing up there, because she could point saying you all need to direct this way, and I think that you all need to meet with her and try to come back with a signage problem, not come back to us, just go ahead and do it. But I'm just saying she can give us more input because she's there daily. I'm just saying, I might say put it on the corner of Federal Highway, and it might not need to go there. I'm just saying if you all could come to an agreement and just go ahead and do it. We're going to have problems as long as we're there building.
I agree with the Vice Chair. Okay. All right. Next comment.
Susan Oyer, 140 Southeast 27th Way. First of all, are we allowed to comment on Pirate Fest and give suggestions and tips, or should I email this? I don't want to disrupt your time.
Got 3 minutes.
Okay. First of all, Pirate Fest was amazing, great, loved it. Some suggestions, though. I would appreciate some ashtray containers up and down Ocean Avenue, as I'm the one out there cleaning in front of my buildings every single Sunday morning, and I was cleaning up a mighty large amount of cigarette butts. We have some very sloppy cigarette smokers here in Boynton, evidently. Second, has the commission considered taking shifts at the booths? I know I was there like 5 times over the 3 days, and I didn't see the commissioners at the booths, but that would just be something, maybe an hour here or there. I don't know. I mean, I know you all have lives too, but that might be something to think about so people could come talk to you. I would also suggest at each of the stages having a list of the bands and the times they're playing. There were some really amazing bands, and I have no idea what their names are, and I would love to go see them again or follow them or whatever, and especially that first one that opened on the Friday night, something Golden Stardust or whatever. They were incredibly good, and I wish I actually knew their full name. Let's see. Thank you, Commissioner Katz, for saying something. There were little to no tweets about this on the city Twitter, and I know I don't follow the CRA Twitter, but I think we'd all be hard-pressed to find 20 people outside of the usual crew that show up that actually know there's a difference between CRA and the city. So it seems like, if this is in the city of Boynton, whether it's CRA area or not, things should be on the city Twitter feed as well as the CRA feed. And I noticed that, except for a guy and I think a picture of his kid or his bird, and a lady who put a couple of pictures on of the Junkaroo Band, is that the proper name? All the tweets about Pirate Fest were mine that I sent out, because I took pictures every time and sent them out every time, so all the pictures out there were mine, unless something came in, a couple days later. No, I didn't put them on the CRA Twitter feed, just the city one, because I figured that's where everybody's looking anyways. The second thing, movies at the park, I think they did an outstanding job. My only problems were that no one in the city knew what time the movies were going to be starting. My students were told 7:30. There was nothing on the city website when I called City Hall. They had no idea, because they don't know what the CRA is doing, which I understand. Gets me back to my prior comment. But, I'm sorry, everyone assumes this is City of Boynton, so why is there not something at the port operator's desk when people are calling? And I did try and call CRA, and no one answered. So, and when I did leave a message with somebody, and I've already talked to Interim Director Mike Simon about this, there was a big long message about Pirate Fest and there's nothing about the movies, and somebody said that there was something about the movies on the CRA website, but there wasn't on the city site. But thank you, Mike, for doing a great job cleaning up that Friday night. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Susan, did you look at the hashtag BB Pirate Fest?
I didn't go into it, but yes, I was posting on it the whole time.
So yeah, I just did the Twitter, the hashtag BB Pirate Fest, and there's 30 to 40. I don't think they're all just on the cities.
Yeah.
So.
Well, a lot of those are mine, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm quite the little Twitter person, as Eleanor can tell you. Thank you.
And Susan, I did volunteer Saturday morning from 11 to 1 when Pirate Fest opened.
But I wasn't sure about anyone else. I didn't hear about anyone else. That's okay. I'm just saying it seemed like there should be a scheduled time, maybe.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Thank you.
Take it any way you want.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Everybody on the dais, God bless you all. I think that was very awesome. It's historic, Two Souls to the Pole. I have that recorded, Vice Mayor McCray, and I loved every moment of it. But
Excuse me, Minister Wright, you need to give your name and your...
Oh, yes, Minister Bernard Wright, 713 North West 2nd Street, Boynton Beach, Florida here. And I really enjoyed it myself. But you know, me knowing the scriptures, you know, knowing that the book of Daniel tells us that God places kings up there and he brings them down. So we know that according to 2:21 is all according to his purpose and plans for Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. So I was never alarmed, and I trust no minister who are of a scholarship of scripture should be alarmed and should teach others not to be alarmed. God, and being a Christian, I know all things are working together for our good. But let me say, I got up here tonight to talk about something about the community benefits agreement. I'd like to have a copy of that. And then I would like to know from a follow-up of the last meeting, I would like for my entity, Bernard Wright Ministry, to be a part of that agreement, being a community advocate for the 2nd District. And I don't want to throw no one under the bus, but you all know where I'm coming from. To God be the glory. Now, I want to know that would I be allowed and would it be appropriate for me to talk about new business discussion and direction for potential acquisition of 416?
You'd have to wait for that time.
For that time. Okay, thank you. And the other item that I would like to speak about regards Clifford Bale wanted to come, but the mindset he was in, it wasn't good that he did. But I thought I would talk about that situation regarding the CRA property there, where the police department has really begun to make that a substation by posting up there. And I get the feeling like, you know, it's like overseering, coming back to slavery again. And a lot of people, they pull, you know, by sitting there after coming, and people don't even want to stop to do business with them. I had a long conversation with him this week, and he wanted to speak about that. And they're now starting to do that over across Cherry Hill. They call this officer friendly, but that's not officer friendly. And it does not help, and it's not conducive to establishing a dialogue with the people, because they're really infurious about this situation. I wish y'all, and these taxpayers' money, and I am a taxpayer, I can't see them sitting there, you know, and it's two of them chatting, and they're just watching people drive up and drive out, and then pull who they choose to pull. And it's bad for business. And it's just not good for community dialogue with what we got going on and trying to establish today. And I just like for y'all to take that under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Good evening. My name is Cozy Joseph. I'm a member of the Boynton Beach Sister City organization. I am here tonight to talk to you a little bit about the devastation that hit the city of Lake High, which is the sister city to Boynton Beach. I know it's not in the news. I know it's not in the media. And we've probably already forgotten about it. But I don't think any country is prepared enough to deal with devastation with a storm that's going in at 150 miles per hour, but moving at 9 miles per hour, and lasted about 11 hours on an entire region. A region that's already very vulnerable. A region that's left to themselves, really, to fend for themselves. So, knowing that Boynton Beach has a relationship with Lake High, I'm coming here tonight not to beg, not to ask for money, but to ask that you keep us in your prayers, and also you keep your mind open when it comes to that region. I know that there is a South Florida relief effort that's going on, so please encourage your folks to contribute to help that effort. At this point, it's not just Lake High that's destroyed. It's really all the region, all the cities in that entire southern, actually in 3 departments of the country. So I ask that you do feel compassion towards that region, and that you keep us in your minds as your sister city is going through this very tough times. Right now, I do have a team down there in Haiti. We've been working there since October 10th, and the biggest needs are not really for getting water shipped to Haiti or getting canned goods shipped out to Haiti. The biggest needs right now, we're trying to get children back to school a month after this hurricane. We're trying to get people's roof to get recovered. They're still sleeping with no roof over their head, and when it rains, it's them and nature. We are trying to focus on cleaning the cities and cleaning the rubbish that the hurricane left. So right now, the best way really to help is to do financial contributions where the goods are purchased in Haiti and they are distributed in Haiti in the areas that need them the most. So I can talk about this forever, but I really thank you for your attention and for listening to me tonight, and hope that you'll keep us in your prayers. Thank you.
Before you go, I'm heading off to Taiwan on Friday, and I noticed that Haiti has diplomatic relations with Taiwan. So I'm going to go speak with Taipei and see what I can do to help.
Really appreciate it.
To see if there's anything that other countries can do to help out with the Haiti as well.
That would be wonderful. I know that there is a Haiti Relief, which has several leaders in the community. I think Commissioner Mark Bernard and Ms. Christina here is a part of the committee. So, whatever you can find, I'm sure that we'll connect and we'll be able to make it happen in Haiti.
Yeah, from what I can tell is that, or heard that they haven't recovered from the earthquake in 2010 necessarily, and so whatever they had, now everything is gone. And so it needs to be almost like a worldwide effort to build it up. And so I'll see what I can do to get as much the word out wherever I go.
Thank you. And right now, and Taiwan might be very appropriate, because right now one of the priorities too is not just to give handouts to people, but the folks who have their gardens, like that are in the agriculture sector, which is totally destroyed. We're trying to help them rebuild so that they can start generating income. So right now we're looking for seedlings. We're looking for anything that can help rehabilitate the region. Thank you.
Welcome.
I did ask Cozy to come this evening and speak to this issue. This is something that we've been speaking about for a couple of months, a couple of weeks now. And Cozy has been on the ground in Haiti, personally witnessing and being part of the devastation that is going on, and just seeing the what everybody's going through in Lekai and those areas specifically. So just thank you for reporting that for us. I do have a flyer here. I think it might be in the back as well if anybody wants to get more information. We have a group that's been initiated, and it's in partnership with the city of Boynton Beach. Thank you to the commissioners and the mayor for allowing that, where at each and every single Boynton Beach firehouse you can go and donate medical supplies, and you can also come to City Hall here and donate medical supplies. This will be in order to help when we go to Haiti in December, the first week of December. Several elected officials in the area and doctors and nurses will be making a medical missions trip to Haiti to give and provide medical relief to those individuals who have been affected by Hurricane Matthew. In addition to that, if you'd like to give monetary contributions, as Cozy has said, that's really what we're aiming for, because we want to not just give handouts of clothes, food, and shoes and things like that, but we actually want to help to recreate the infrastructure, help rebuild homes, help small business owners rebuild their businesses, and help them to not just eat a fish for a day, but to fish, learn to fish for a lifetime. So we thank all of you for, again, your contributions. You've already been helping out, and we thank those who will be assisting in this process. So.
No more comments. Moving on to old business. We have item A and B. Would someone like to remove that from the table to discuss?
I'd just throw the comment out there that in discussions with Mike, that the individuals trying to develop this property are going through a number of issues that they have to deal with regards to acquiring the property, applying for the tax credits and this and that. This isn't necessarily time sensitive, and there's still unresolved kind of issues, like Reverend Wright brought up with regards to who's going to be on this community benefits agreement. So I think that it's good to stay on the table, because we don't really we don't really know what we're going to do with it yet exactly, or who's involved, and the developer's tackling issues with land acquisition. So to kind of put this on him while he's doing that before they even know if they're going to build the project, I think that we can continue to work on this behind the scenes while it's tabled. That's my opinion.
I do agree with that, Commissioner Katz, to keep that on the table. And what I would like to add is I did speak to Interim Director Mike Simon regarding possibly creating a community benefits agreements and actually letting that be an assignment for the board, the advisory board, to potentially work on and draft something that they can use several CRAs and kind of use them as a template for creating a CBA that could be effective and efficient, and that could be something that we can put on the table and always have available to us whenever we have a possible developer coming down the line. So I don't know if I would make that motion now or make it later to add that as an assignment for the advisory board to work on to create a CBA that could be available here for us as a city or as a CRA.
That'd be under item 15.
Okay, so I'll do that at that time.
I'd just like to throw out a question. Is CBA, can we make one for citywide, or does it just have to be CRA specific? I mean, is that something maybe we should have a discussion down the road?
Well, that would be at the city meeting.
Yeah.
But, we can, use the best practices, what the CRA does. And, because the CRA Advisory Board both works for the city and the CRA, we can use them as the go-between between us as the city and the CRA. So I feel that anybody who would like to be a part of the community benefits agreement, attend the CRA, the CRA Board meetings, to get involved and to get the input there for the community benefits agreement.
Would we need legal direction on that?
Yes, and I just wanted to advise the board that we have drafted and revised a community benefits agreement that can be used for the future. So as your legal department, we have done that to make sure all the appropriate protections and the appropriate parties are contracted with, because it is an agreement and a contract. So I just wanted to let you know that for information, and I would advise that any agreement that the CRA board is ultimately contemplating entering into, including a CBA, would come through the legal department. But I certainly don't think there's any issue with your submitting it to the advisory board, because one of the terms that's outside of the legal counsel's determination is who the community benefit partner would be. The way that we have addressed that in the document is to have the CRA board choose at each instance. So in each agreement that comes forward, you wouldn't just pick an entity who would always be the beneficiary. It's up to the discretion of the CRA board with each agreement to determine who the beneficiary would be. But the terms of how that would work have been drafted for your review and consideration.
My comment is that for the CBA agreement, although it's going to be passed down, is that Minister Wright stood before us and requested that he get a copy. So there's no copy to present to him, so that needs to be stated for the record. Am I correct?
We just have the draft. That's part of part of our backup documentation.
And we have nothing to present. But anyway, until we get to it. But anyway, under old business, I'm in favor of not removing either A nor B from the table. I spoke with the interim director as well, so
yeah,
what are we going to do?
Kind of had the discussion anyway. But okay, so do I see anyone removing it from the table? It is on the. So we're passing items A and B.
Board, I just on those two items, I'd like to provide you with at the December meeting a written update from New Rock. I think. Even though we all understand the process that they're going through, and obviously an award and a closing is contingent on this. I'm sorry, an award is contingent for the project, and then the CBA has to be for closing. But I think, given that it's been on the table for so long, and we're kind of using our own understanding, maybe the public would benefit from even hearing or reading something from them, just to kind of bring it all together from the developer's perspective. I think that'd be a benefit. If you don't mind, I'll request that on your behalf, that whether they're here or whether they provide, just kind of a written update. I think it's good for the file and the
absolutely, because this is something that they don't have to accept either. And so we definitely want to have a meeting of the minds with the CBA, with our partners. So
and it is their intent certainly to work to enter into it, but I think the fact that it's on a back burner should be noted for you all, perhaps from them and not just from staff, working with them.
Yeah, and so yeah, let's continue to have that tabled. And I'd like to get send it back to what with Board Member Romulus said to the CRA Advisory Board, because the Coalition of Clergy is not a legal entity, and so we can't contract with with something that's not a legal entity. So I kind of want to say that if we want to have another community advocate, that they be required to be a legal entity. So whether it be a church or a ministry that works with the Boynton Beach faith-based CDC.
Although the clergy is not a entity right now, they but they are in the process. They set up securing paperwork, so I just don't want to leave them hanging. So
okay,
well, I want to throw that out there to you.
Okay, so we're moving on to item C: consideration of search firms for hiring a CRA executive director. Mike, do you want to present the three options?
Board Chair and board members, the item before you is a result of the direction that you gave to me and CRA Legal to search out individual executive search firms and provide you with proposals. The first requirement and condition of review for staff was to determine if the cost of the proposals was going to exceed our procurement for just written proposals and not have to go to an RFP, RFQ. That condition was satisfied and it did not exceed. So the proposals that were requested were from Colin Benzinger and Associates, Slavin Management Consultants, and the Mercer Group. Those proposals, as submitted by each of those professional organizations, are in your backup behind the agenda cover as attachment 1, and I provided just a very brief, kind of, again, not putting any personal input into the review, just essentially providing you a summary of basic information like where they're located, that they're all nationally recognized and have searched throughout the United States for executives. The timetable that you had specified to me that was desirable all seems to meet each of their proposals, and I provided you with their fees for the search, whether it included expenses or not expenses, and any type of, they all provided a warranty, if you will, or a guarantee, and references. Those prices range in general from $15,700 to $24,000. And all the firms appear, from at least my review and the recommendation of the city manager, to be very qualified. And certainly you can see from their proposals that their experience level and years in the business, both as professional city managers and as search professionals, is quite vast. Well over 20 to 20, almost 30 years of each of them. So,
Michael, did you say you had dialogue with the city manager?
I did. She provided, she and Colin Groff both sent executive search firms that they have either worked with or have knowledge of in the past, because executive search firms that specifically focus on CRA directors are not as easy to find as city directors or utility directors, city functions, if you will. So they were all extremely very nice and professional individuals I spoke with, and their proposals are all very nicely done, and I think easy for you to understand and read.
Michael, let me jump in. I'm glad you said that, because as I went over them, I'm just saying they all tooting their horns about, they see about managers, city managers, et cetera, but not that many spoke about a CRA, and I'm glad you said that, because I kept reading and saying, okay, where is this CRA executive director, whatever you all done there? So I'm glad you throw that in. I'm just saying now you got rid of some of the questions I had.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
They would apply the same philosophy to that search that they do to city managers, I would presume.
I understand that they apply the same philosophy, but my thing is, have they been able to deliver? That's my question. I'm just saying,
right.
We all have philosophies for hiring different individuals for different scopes, but I'm just saying the deliverables is what I'm kind of questioning right now.
I didn't have direction from the board if you had even thought of this, whether you wanted them to be here to present their proposals. Is that something you want them to do in the future? I couldn't answer that question for them. If you wanted to interview or not, I figured tonight would be your discussion on the proposal and how you wanted to proceed, whether any of those are applicable or not.
Well, let me go ahead and finish talking. Well, my best bet is that, whoever we're going to choose, I feel like they should appear before so that we could ask questions, I'm just saying, so that they could answer them prior to our selection. I would feel more comfortable instead of just reading a summation that was sent in by them. I'm just saying, I would like for them to present and say, this is what I can do for this city, or I'm willing to do. We can dialogue one-on-one and have questions then and get some things summed up. But right now, I'm not comfortable until I speak to the individuals, before me. I'm just saying, I'm just one person.
I definitely agree with that. They gave us basically all the backup documentation, which was wonderful. I'm okay with the fact that they do a lot with the city administrator, county administrator, different types of high-level executives for city functions, and I don't feel that there's too much of a stretch between the CRA executive director and the city manager or a county administrator. I think moving forward, if we could get, them presentation, because right now all we have is just a lot of words without putting a face to each of them. And I'm with Vice Chair McCray on that.
Does this potentially add another month to the timetable then?
They would be here in December, and you could interview and select from that evening. We could had a contract that was formally submitted with the proposal. You could have each of them bring one of those, and if one was selected, you could have time to have legal review it after the selection, perhaps, and speed up.
My question is, I don't see an urgency, not with you at the helm. I'm just saying where we can, take our time and do it correctly. I'm just saying, I don't want to be jumping ahead and saying, let's rush and get this over with. I'm just saying I want to do it right the first time so that we don't have to have a repeat. I'm just saying right now, I'm comfortable dealing with you, although I'd like for you to communicate a little better, but, we're going to get there. That's the way I feel.
I agree with Vice Mayor.
Okay. So I guess were there other firms that you looked at that didn't have a proposal within the RFP limit?
No. I went with the three that were recommended by Lori, and their references upon reading them were, in my opinion, sufficient. And I didn't know if you wanted more than three. I can certainly search more, but that met the requirement for the proposal with regard to our procurement. And given the level of work that they did, I just thought that.
Can I make a suggestion that we give the interim director the direction that to bring the three applicants before us so we can ask some questions for next meeting? That'd be good. Is that possible, or December?
Yeah.
The special meeting, if you wanted as well, if you wanted to, if the timetable needed to be accelerated.
No,
I don't think we're on.
Meeting is fine.
We have the fast track.
In addition, I was also looking for some type of table that maybe ranked the three different firms. I didn't see that. Is that in there or no?
They were allowing us to determine it. They weren't trying to put their own views.
Oh, I see.
I just felt it more appropriate that I didn't do that.
Understood.
And Michael, when you reach out to the three, they might say, if they want to bring us before them, I might not want to come, so hey, that's their shot. I'm just saying,
Yes, sir.
It might help us narrow it down.
Well, not knowing the format, again, I just didn't want them to drive down unnecessarily and put you in a position that you didn't want to be in without you having an opportunity to decide.
So you have direction, right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Moving on to item E. No. D? Sorry. Hit D last. Consideration of request for qualification proposed from independent redevelopment agency management firms to provide the services of the executive director. And this is different than the last option in that we are hiring a company and they will be choosing the executive director from their staff, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. The backup documentation is a draft that I worked on with CRA Legal, based on both the Pompano RFP for services and the West Palm Beach RFP request for services. It does provide language that, of course, allows you the same options as you do under any RFP, that you can reject the proposals, you can negotiate the proposals once one is selected. A contract can specify any number of requirements that the firm, abide by under your direction. So if that's information seeking, if that's other types of options that you want as a company, with this firm, that you can cover in your contract with them. But not knowing whether you wanted the full service of a firm to manage all the operations, we wrote it to accommodate a request for a management firm to provide you with their services and essentially the executive director aspect. If you would like to add other conditions to the RFP with, let's say, options of here's how we would handle your executive director position. Option 1. Option 2 would be management of the agency with retaining your employees or providing their own staff. There's many, you wanted to explore all options, and I think as a management firm option, you can customize this to require them to provide information on each of those aspects that I gave you, if you so choose, or you can just do one position.
I think it was this board in our initial discussion on this.
We let all options available.
We let all options available.
Yeah. So open it up to public comments.
David Katz, 67 Midwood Lane, our fair city. This idea of possibly bringing in an agency management firm, or call it what you want, I think is a horrible idea. Matter of fact, a member, Mr. Dvorsny of the advisory board, even agreed with me, which surprised the heck out of me. I don't think you should waste your time with this, because they draw up contracts where you guys lose total control. You have to look into it. You need to find somebody, a human being, a individual who hasn't been here before, and have them be the new CRA director and not deal with a management firm. I think this is a horrible waste of time. Thank you.
I wasn't going to say it's a horrible waste of time, but I feel that, I really enjoy working with the CRA staff, and it'd be difficult hiring just an executive director from a management company without using their staff. So I prefer to go with just hiring the executive director and not hiring a company to do the whole management aspect of the CRA, because we would be losing a lot of autonomy, because this whole company would be trying to maximize their profits as well.
Well, like the interim director just said, that we can customize that any way we'd like to. So I think that the initial discussion we had on this, we want to put all the cards on the table here and make a wise choice. So I'm not saying we're going with a management company, but I think that should be before us, and to see what they offer and what the options might be on that.
Okay, yeah, and I'll continue with public comments.
Good evening. Brian Fitzpatrick, 409 Northeast 1st Street. I would just like to ask you to consider what's the sense of urgency in selecting somebody right now? I mean, especially the way it sounds, that there's no actual directors or ex-directors out there looking for positions. I mean, we're going to bring somebody in that has, obviously that we're not going to bring somebody in that doesn't have CRA experience, but we have an interim director right now. I mean, think back to how long were we running with Lori as the interim city manager? I mean, I feel that, Mr. Simon is certainly capable of filling in as interim director. I don't feel there's any sense of urgency in going out and bringing somebody new on board. We've got a lot of projects right now that are coming before the board that we're trying to get coming out of the ground. I mean, Martin Luther King, Cherry Hill. I mean, we're just going to go out and grab somebody new, and we're going back to, square one again. I mean, let's get something going with the staff that we have, perhaps, or at least give him some time in the position. I mean, Anyhow, that's
No,
my
I think
request.
what we decided as the board was that, Mike was the assistant executive director, and so he's now doing twice as much work. And so it's kind of in the sense that we have the position available. It's not that we're going to rush it, but we want to see whether we, continue with Mike Simon as the executive director and have him hire an assistant, but our goal was to see all the options available. And so that's kind of what Board Member Casella was saying, is that, why not just take a look to see if, a management firm is the best option compared to hiring an independent executive director, whereas you can, like Interim Director Simon said, is that you can limit what the management firm is doing, whether it's just the executive director, or the whole staff.
I would tend to agree with Mr. Katz in terms of not wasting our time with a management agency. I mean, handle that ourselves in terms of the search. Anyhow, thank you.
The management would be the executive director. We would still need to have the hiring, the search firms.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Susan Oyer, 140 Southeast 27th Way. This is a sure sign of the apocalypse because I'm agreeing with both of them. I know. Mark your calendars. I see the point in looking at a specialty firm, but I really think we need to stick with an exact director. I've got to put no matter who you pick, I will put in a plug now officially for Mike Simon. But I am biased. I've known him since we were all in high school together, even though he's, older than I am, which he doesn't want to hear about. His sister and I have known each other for years. His family is one of the oldest families in Delray Beach. He's committed to this area. The Simon family has been in Delray almost as long as my family's been here in Boynton. And it's not like he doesn't have a vested interest in making this place as great as possible. He's doing a fabulous job. But at the same time, I do agree with Mr. Fitzpatrick. Let's not rush things. Let's do it right, because nothing happens when it happens fast. So make sure you take your time and look at it. But thank you.
Woodrow Hay, 427 Northwest 5th Avenue. Just for quantity, I just wanted to express my agreement with what's been said by David Katz. I think we should go the route with Mike Simon until such time as we find the right mixture for executive director. It's not a waste of time, but I think when you look at companies that's for profit, you introduce a whole lot of different avenues and motivation that we don't need right now. So I really think we ought to just stick with what we have until such time as we find the right mixture, and don't bother anymore with this AMF. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Nathaniel Robinson III. I'm the pastor of Greater St. Paul African Methodist Episcopal Church, 315 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and I come to echo the sentiments of the other four people who were here before. I think if it isn't broken, then maybe we shouldn't try to fix it. To bring in, to try to do a contract with an outside agency, to bring in just one person to staff as a part of our CRA, at our CRA staff, I think it would be conflict. There would be conflictual. There would be conflicts of interest. I think that someone from the area who has a love from the area, who knows our board, who knows our city, is an awesome idea. And so I echo the sentiments of everyone who came before. Vote of confidence from the citizens that I serve in the CRA district. Vote of confidence for Mr. Michael Simon. Thank you.
I'd like to go ahead and just say I remember that board chair, not board chair Casello, I'm the chair now, I'm vice chair. Board member Casello said, that he wanted to go out for a management firm. I listened with anticipation, but, my take is that, and I want to assure the CRA group that I am not in favor for the record, of getting a management firm. I'm just saying, when you start talking about getting a management firm and they bringing in their teams, it's making people get leery. Am I going to have a job? I'm on the page of getting a CRA director. And Mr. Simon, as long as you keep doing what you're doing, I'm satisfied, sir. Thank you.
Just for the record, I respect your opinion, but I did not say I wanted a management firm. I said I would like to view all the options that could be put before us. Never did I say I wanted a management firm. I said I think we should have all the options to look at. That's all I said.
Thank you, sir. Then I will not agree with that. I'm just saying, I do apologize if I misquoted you, but I'm still saying I'm not in favor of a management firm.
So moving on, giving direction to staff, I'd like to get a motion to approve the RFP, or not, or yes, Tara?
You can go ahead and do that, but after you do that, I would like some direction to staff about the timing, which is on page 5 of your packet. There's a proposed timeline, so once you decide whether or not you want to do it, if you do, I'd just like to confirmation that that proposed timeline is agreeable.
Page. Can you give us the document page from the packet?
3 of the draft.
Background, purpose, scope.
Yeah, it's page 5 of the PDF.
The scope of service. I'm not.
It's the tentative schedule.
Tentative schedule.
F.
I'll just, while we're looking this up, I'll put my 2 cents in. I kind of, I'm in agreement with Board Member Costello in this. That I said from the beginning when we made the decision to go in a different direction a couple months back that I'm open to any option, and given that fact, I'd like to see every option. I don't favor one in particular, but I think with 3 brand new members, 3 young members of the commission and of the CRA board, that I think it'd be good experience for us to be exposed to the potential options out there. So I'm definitely in favor of 1, approving the RFP, and 2, trying to adhere to the timetable or syncing up the timetable, I guess, with the 3 people that'll be coming in next month. Just to put all the cards on the table, it doesn't indicate any sort of preference. I'm perfectly happy with how Mike's been doing things. So, it's not any sign of support for any particular option. I just want to see all the options.
Which there's no sense of urgency. I mean, really. We want to get it done, obviously, but Mike's doing a great job up here, so we don't have to rush anything.
So,
I would, excuse me, board members, if you're looking at the schedule now, I think that...
what I'd like to do is, sorry for interrupting, is that
okay.
one is to do, motion to approve the RFP, and then a second motion to approve as stated, or to make any amendments to that. Does that seem good for the board?
That's going to be on D?
Yes. So may I have a motion to approve, to draft the RFP for agency management firm?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Nay.
You can't do that for...
Aye. I'm not in favor of it.
Well, okay, so let's do a roll call, please.
Yes.
Nay.
Nay.
Yes.
Nay. So we don't need to worry about the tentative
And
schedule.
just to comment on my vote, I did attend the FRA conference, and I did speak to one of those potential management firms that we may have been looking at if we were to go out to RFP. And I, drilled them incessantly and asked several questions, and just wanted to get to know their philosophy on how they run things and what they're doing in their current cities that they operate in. And I really didn't feel one way or another about them, so I didn't really feel like this was the necessary direction that we had to go. And I always feel like there's that people aspect that we have to bring to a position, especially when you're dealing with not just buildings and real estate, but human beings and lives. So that's why I would definitely be more in favor of going out individually looking for a CRA executive director that that will bring that human aspect to the job, and not just a management firm that would be here for sake of just collecting a dollar. So I did have experience with meeting with one of these firms, management firms, and again, I didn't really feel that they rubbed me the right way in terms of bringing them to the city here.
Could you share the name of the management firm that you talked to?
Do I?
No,
need
you don't have to.
You don't have to.
I'd rather not.
All right.
But they are one of the popular management firms. They're down in Pompano. They're up in West Palm. If that
Okay,
says
well,
anything.
that says it all. All right, moving on to item E, consideration of appointment to the Evaluation Committee as specified in the Cottage District site request for proposals and qualifications.
Board Chair and board members, the item before you is for the appointment to the Evaluation Committee as specified in the Cottage District RFP and qualifications. Typically, as you may know, in our RFQs for development proposals, the paragraph that discusses how the RFPs will be evaluated and who will be doing that is generally not as specific in language as this one was. It indicated that the board would appoint. I don't know if legal would support this comment, but I believe that as the board, you have the options, of course, to change the conditions of the RFP almost at your sole discretion. But having said that, I did provide a list of 5 names for your review. You can accept them, you can alter them, you can add to them. But I felt like since it was in the RFP document that I would start at this level first.
I hate to interrupt. Is it just me or is it warm in here?
It's not cold.
It's warm in here, and I'm never warm.
Can someone look into that,
There's
please? It's uncomfortable. Please, thank you. Please continue.
Michael, how did you come up with the five individuals? What was the criteria?
These 5 individuals, I felt, kind of encompassed a lot of different aspects of a review of a development, let's say. So you have an advisory board member, which would be Robert Pollack. He's the vice chair. I felt that at least one member of the advisory board you could certainly add. That would be, and he's a resident of the Heart of Boynton. Amanda, the city planner, urban planner, she has spent an awful lot of time consolidating the CRA plan, with the zoning and with land use. And as an urban planner and designer for the city, I thought she could add a bit of both technical review and analysis to a kind of well-rounded group of people. Jim Williams of AW Architects, again, from a architectural engineering, site planning experience on a professional side, not on a municipal side, I thought gave you the option of having somebody look at it from that perspective. Mark George, again, just a resident, but knowing his involvement in the Heart of Boynton and the years he has been. Also, Mark happened to have used the Cottage District site as a potential redevelopment thesis for his certificate in redevelopment. And then Mike Rumpf, who is not the Mike Rumpf of the city fame, but Mike Rumpf is a longtime resident of the Heart of Boynton and has participated in some other committees and other types of activities as a citizen within the community. We have not utilized his services as of yet, and I thought that would be another resident of the Heart of Boynton close to the site. This site is a little different than our what would not necessarily want to be a tax credit project, but it's a little more creative in its redevelopment under single family, sensitive to kind of an historic cottage design feel, single family aspect. Again, this is a stab at a product that the market of developers may not particularly find comforting at this time. We may end up with 0 responses, or we may have several, but it is going to encompass a development of an IUPUD type where it's its own kind of themed, almost like a model block again, if you will.
Are they creating their own standards or
No, all the standards are within the CRA plan and the urban the design guidelines of the plan. It's really more layout, amount of units, sensitivity to the community, adherence to the plan, those types of things, and the code, of course.
I'd like to open up to public comment.
Before we open it up, I just have a question. The 5 individuals who you presented to us, they agreed to serve?
Yes, they have.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, David Cass, 67 Midwood Lane, our fair city. Just One question before I start, if I can ask the interim director, Mr. Pollock, does he live in the heart of Boynton or does he live in the CRA area?
He lives, I thought that he lived, if my address is incorrect, I thought that he lived in the heart of Boynton, but it may be that he's on the other side of the canal. and
Right,
the
I think he
CRA
lives in the
district.
CRA, but not the heart of Boynton.
Okay.
Okay. Having said that, I mean, the formation and the process, I'm trying to figure out the need for an evaluation committee. You have a CRA advisory board. Why have another level to have to go through this? I mean, they can, whoever's going to respond to this RFP, they can go first to the CRA advisory board and then come to the CRA board. There's really no need, in my humble opinion, for this evaluation board. But if you decide that you do need this evaluation board, I understand having Jim Williams for, technical advice. I understand Amanda from the planning department for technical advice. I understand Mr. Rumpf living in the heart of Boynton. I do not understand the need for Mr. Pollock, since he's already on the advisory board. He'll just be looking at it all over again. Or the need for Mr. Karageorge, who does not live in the heart of Boynton, even though I give him credit for his involvement previously. I would think having 2 additional members who actually live in the heart of Boynton, taking Mr. Pollock, Mr. Karageorge off that, would be the right way to go. And I'd like to know if the commissioner, the board member from that district, was even afforded the courtesy of his own input as far as choosing somebody from the heart of Boynton. It sounds like that was not afforded. And my suggestion would be is to add members from the heart of Boynton and take away the 2 that I mentioned. Thank you.
Let me go ahead and address that.
I just want to, before you go, is that we can also, I spoke with Mike about this, and that we could actually have more than 5 members. We could
Well,
have
that's fine,
7.
too. Okay.
So we could leave it open for 2 members, 1 appointed by the District 2.
Okay.
Right. Thank you. No, I wasn't afforded, the opportunity to give my input, but, I already trusted, Mr. Simon, with what he's doing. I just said that tonight, and I'm just saying if he felt that these are the individuals that he feel that could benefit this committee if we go this route, then I'm fine. But if we need to go up to 7, then, I want to put it out to the public that they do suggestions that, they find, somebody perhaps that want to serve and willing. We find out that it's hard pitch now to get people to serve on boards here within this city.
Correct. And, my thought is that Warren Adams, our historian, would probably be the best, because, any design that comes forward, he could have the historic aspect of the design, because the whole point of the cottage district is to maintain the feel of the current houses. Yeah, it's a new item, but
Don't went ahead of you.
But
Noyer, 140 Southeast 27th Way. I like the idea of having 7, the more the merrier. I don't have a problem with any of the people that were suggested except Amanda. My only concern is that when we went through all the stuff over the summer, she repeatedly did not listen to the public. She was abrasive towards the public. Whenever we had presentations here to the commission, she would say, "Oh, bring up the secret slides." Well, why are you hiding things from the public? And that would be my issue, is she's not necessarily public oriented. And, I don't know her personally, so I can't attest to her anything else. I just don't like the impression I got from the dealings over the summer and all the multiple things we went to. And I would suggest not her. But all the rest I have no issues with. And I do like Mr. Katz's idea of, having more people from that area, or maybe property owners from that area. And no, that's not me. Thank you.
Let me just piggyback what David just got through saying, David Katz, and I'd like to say I would be more in terms of 2 citizens out of the heart of Boynton Beach. Property owners, I am a property owner, and I'm a candidate always. I'm always available when it comes to establishing a better Boynton. So I just want you all to know that. Don't leave me out. To God be the glory.
No.
Okay. So currently we need either a motion to approve, not approve, add 2 more people. What would the board like to do? Or just send it to the CRA Advisory Board and not have this as the selection committee?
I think that we have an advisory board for a reason, and a lot of those people, they live in the CRA district, not necessarily in the heart of Boynton, but I think we're just duplicating some of the things that we're trying to accomplish here. I'd be comfortable with the advisory board going through it.
Okay. So I would want a motion to approve in the affirmative, and then if people don't want to agree, then it would be voted down.
I'm going to offer a motion to approve this in the affirmative.
As it is?
As is, or?
I want to approve it as, but I want to add 2 more members to this board. I'm just saying.
That would be the motion then.
No named members, just 2 members?
I have names if you all want me to go ahead and give them to you now.
Absolutely.
Minister Bernard Wright just stood and said that he wants to serve, let him serve, and then you just stood up and said that Warren, the historian, I think that there'll be 2 excellent candidates to be placed on this board. Just they're willing to work.
I just want to know, can we, from the city assistant city manager Tim, is that something we can do? Well, I know that he doesn't have to accept it, but okay.
Yeah, we can check with him.
Okay, so yeah, we'll check with him, and if not, we'll leave that open to, and just have 6 members. Yep. Okay.
Like to have an uneven number to break any ties. If
Well, that the good thing about having an even number is that it requires a supermajority. It's
what's the time frame on this? I guess.
I think
process?
when is the RFPs due back?
November 16th, they would get the responses, provided there are any, and begin their evaluation and present it to you on the December 13th meeting, at the December 13th meeting.
Do you have a demand on these people's time? Are we asking, like a
Very little.
one meeting or 2 meetings
Yes.
potentially?
Well, yes, and they really are. It's not designed to be a consensus building amongst them as a evaluation. It's individual evaluations and then a ranking. But I'd also like to ask the board, if while you're considering this, if you want to assign the review of the responses to the advisory board as an assignment as well, and not just a agenda review type item.
We're duplicating, and that's
Right. Well, they're gonna see
redundancy
it
here. Why don't we
essentially-
just give it to the advisory board and let them work through it?
That's one thing. That's one option. I'm with Vice Chair.
Right, I understand that we'd like to give it to the advisory board, but no one can speak better for home except those individuals who live there. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve with 2 additional members of Bernard Wright and Warren Adams. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 3-2. Moving on to item F.
I'd like to go back, though, to something Mike Simon said, because it's a little bit separate from what we just voted on. Regarding what he said about the return of the RFPs. Is that what you're saying? Did we just vote on the RFPs being to this board?
No.
What did we just vote on?
We voted on the...
I mean, I'm sorry. I do know what we voted on. I guess I'm asking, like, what was your suggestion, and what is it that, how does it differ from what we just voted on?
The question was that we currently have the 7 people reviewing it, giving us their evaluation on the criteria within the RFP. The question is do we want to also have the advisory board give us on their criteria, or just a selection from that criteria, from the evaluation of these 7 people?
No, I believe Mike's was when the RFP comes back. What are you saying?
No,
Mike?
the committee, the evaluation committee you just selected is
Would do
great.
everything.
That they would do it. Do you also want leaving them, which is I believe a staff-supported decision? As you know, the advisory board reviews, or has been reviewing, each item of your agenda. If you have this evaluation committee and you have yourselves to review the evaluations committee reviews and your own, do you also, thirdly, want this item to be reviewed specifically by the advisory board as well, or do they skip this item in their next meeting of review?
That's the question.
Okay.
Rather than the duplicity that was suggested. It doesn't matter to staff, I'm just getting direction.
I like a selection by the CRA Board based upon the evaluation committee.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that okay with the board?
Fine with me.
All right.
Take a vote on that?
Sure. Can I get a motion to approve the CRA Board to make it a recommendation based upon the evaluation board's criteria?
Discussion?
Sure.
Just to make the point, because I haven't really said anything yet, I'm kind of the agreement of Board Member Costello that now we have a 7-member evaluation board that'll weigh in, and then a 7-member advisory board, and then it'll come to a 5-member CRA board, and the possibility of severe conflicts in all these boards is highly potential. I just think that it undermines the point of the evaluation committee if we then send it to the advisory board. I think that, one set of eyes, 7 people here, 7 people there, that's enough. So I think that if we have this evaluation committee, then we should receive their recommendations and go with that. I don't know if having essentially two different recommendation committees in the form of the CRAB and this is going to be productive.
I actually would agree with you because we do have someone from the CRA Advisory Board.
That's on there.
So
I think this kind of takes the place.
We're in agreement. So we're going to have an agreement that the CRA Advisory Board does not make a recommendation upon this.
I'm in favor of them not making a recommendation.
Okay. So do we need a motion or is that a...
We got a motion on the floor to accept that has a die first, and then we'll offer motion for it not to go.
I remove my motion.
Your second.
He asked for motion.
I asked for a motion.
Okay.
So there's no motion. We're just having the evaluation come forward with the criteria to the board. Okay.
Thank you.
Now we're on item F. Consideration of Second Amendment to extend the development timeline section for the purchase and development agreement for 201 East Ocean Avenue.
Yes, this item is being brought to you at the request of the architectural firm handling the design and the construction document and permit application submission for the 211 East Ocean Avenue redevelopment project. I did speak to Jim Williams this afternoon, and despite their initial apprehension on meeting the deadline within the contract, and again, this is being brought to you by staff to try to keep all of the dates of the contract and the actions of the developer in line. This is not being brought to you with any kind of idea of penalization or really over consideration. They just need a little more time with the engineering and the mechanicals as it relates to the requirements of the historic structure to meet the codes and the design standards that the building department is going to need to approve it as a permitted construction project.
Motion to approve.
Wait a minute. Michael?
Yes, sir.
Did we extend this already once?
Yes, we did.
So this is the second extension they're asking for?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
My vote is that they're asking it for December 29th, that we make it the week before, December 22nd. And just because that's the extra week, because what would end up happening is that staff would have the opportunity to review it the week before the new year compared to the actual week afterwards. And so, this is just, they're asking for, I think, too much time, and so this is their second time asking it. So just, cutting it down for the week before, just so that they know that they might not be able to get a second, a third renewal. And so that's what mine would be to give them to the 22nd instead of the 29th.
Well, that begs the question, if they're asking for this extension, is there a reason why the 29th is what works for them instead of the 22nd?
They just said 45 days instead of 30.
I had asked Jim Williams to be here this evening, but he had a prior conflict. He said that he's anticipating actually submitting this next week. So I think if you are in, but again, you'd be out of, if he walked in on Friday, it's past November 14th. So even though it's 3 days, you're technically out of contract. So we just want to be in line is really, so even if it was 2 weeks after that, I think you can pick a drop dead date of December 1st or the 15th or whatever you'd like, and they'll have to adhere to it.
Yep, if you want to do, or if you want the 29th. You just need a motion to approve as agreed or amended with the earlier date.
Fact that we don't want to give them another extension after, so can we put that as a clause that we don't want
And now,
extension? No?
because then the contract would be over. Or we could be subject to terminating the contract. Because all right, just so to...
No, I was just going to help, but you answered it yourselves.
Okay.
So I'd like to make the motion that we extend it 30 days from November 14th. Give them the 30 days.
Okay. I'm okay with that. Do I have a second? Make sure that's not a weekend. Okay, that's a Wednesday. That's fine. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
All right. Motion passes 4-1.
My vote was not for the 30 days. I want to go to the end like they requested. It would have been fine.
Moving on to item G. Same deal pretty much, except this is the first request.
Is the first request, and it is being made by representatives for both the CRA and Mrs. Newton to continue to work on the few title issues that are remaining with regard to exchange of the property and the closing. But again, in order to be in compliance with the dates of the contract and have everything line up, the extensions necessary to bring it into order and into contract. So we're extending it to a closing date of the 18th of November, which consequently or additionally extends her occupancy to January 17th. This is in the model block project, as it states.
I'm going to offer a motion to approve extension till November the 18th.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. All right. Moving on to new business. Discussion and direction for the potential acquisition of 416 East MLK Jr. Boulevard.
The item before you is the discussion, as you mentioned several meetings ago, that you'd like properties brought to you for direction to staff on whether to pursue negotiations for acquisition or redevelopment or what have you, rather than us bringing it to you already in the form of a contract. We have been approached by the owner of the property at 416 East Martin Luther King Boulevard, and I am seeking your direction on whether or not this is a property you would like to entertain acquisition. We did do an appraisal of the property, and that value was determined to be $742,000. The property is currently a church building, and it is in the general commercial land use district on the eastern node of Martin Luther King Boulevard, as identified in the plan of the CRA redevelopment plan.
Michael, is this
first.
building currently in foreclosure?
It is approaching that, yes,
It is
sir.
approaching foreclosure.
We have had discussions with the lender, limited, but they've been very forthcoming with the conditions. I do not have a price that is acceptable or terms other than a lease back by the owner of the property to continue using the property while we are in the process of determining redevelopment potential.
So if I'm hearing, you tried to negotiate with them, but they didn't want to negotiate?
No, I thought that I would try to determine an actual sales price from him so that I had a good idea this evening, but I was unable to do that. But I am certain at this point that it is above the appraised value and into a number higher than that. But again, I don't have a definitive.
Let me go ahead and ask my questions. Michael, when I discussed this with you, you said that if we purchased this church, that they wanted us to extend them 3 years rent-free. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. They wanted to release it back. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me explain something. I'm just saying, when we was doing the development for the MLK, this was a church that approached us, okay, and they said that they wanted, and how much money did we pay into this already?
The CRA hasn't made any investment into this. The land that is under the building was exchanged by the city some years ago for property that the owner owned in the model block. So there was an exchange of property to begin. They moved the church to this location, and the city got the model block lots.
Okay, let me say it again this way. That was an exchange. The lots that we exchanged, how much were they worth then? That was although it wasn't monetary, that was an exchange that had some value. If you don't know it, just say
I do not know the answer to that.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Is that something you can look up, the
Certainly.
contract?
Yes.
All right, look forward to that information.
How much money do we have in this year's budget for the MLK development?
$1,162,000.
And this would potentially eat up $700,000,
Well,
$800,000.
It would, except that some of that, $1 million of that has been in the budgeted, yes. Available, you have $1 million pledged as your local contribution to the New Rock application for tax credit. So you would have to draw this money from another source. You could potentially, if it were a property that you wanted to acquire, you could use funds from the dog park property or the Boynton Beach Boulevard, or you could perhaps, as I have kind of had preliminary discussions with the bank, that maybe there's a way to spread out acquisition over a number of years as a CRA, some type of 3 or 5 year, and not have to expend a tremendous amount this year, or the full amount this year. I don't have approval of that, obviously, but I just wanted to look at options for you if you were interested. Those all would kind of be brought back if you wanted me to go to negotiate with terms. If you had some terms tonight that you wanted to make sure that he knew you were not interested in doing, that would also help, whether that be the lease back or...
Just my take on this. We have a building. I know it's a church, but it's pretty close to being foreclosed upon. Okay, we have no negotiation as far as trying to settle with the owner of this building. It has been my experience up here. The last time we did this with a church down in that area, when we gave it, let them use it for the 2-3 years or how many years it was, they ended up subleasing it out to somebody else and collecting rent on it. Now, we make bad landlords, in my opinion. I would like to give direction to the interim director to negotiate a price, come back with a price versus paying appraised value.
I'd like to open it up for a public comment.
No, just before we go public comment, let's continue. First of all, I'd like to know, Michael, how long has this church been sitting there?
Their perm loan, 5 years, roughly, with construction being about 2 years prior to that.
I hate to say this, but I'm just saying, when the church was just started out, I'm just saying there's individuals probably who's out there looking, to buy a church. I'm just saying, I hate for it to go into foreclosure, but, sometimes we, build things and don't be good stewards. My whole take is that, I hate for it to go into foreclosure, but I don't want to jump on this, and they're asking for more money than what it's worth. I'm just saying, I think we got them. They don't have us. I hate to say it like that.
I'm going to agree with Vice Chair. Just personally, even if we're able to negotiate a good price on a property valued at $700,000 might be what, $500,000. And that's being real liberal about the idea that they'd lower the price like that. I think we don't have the money. It's a relatively new building, so this really doesn't fall into the category, in my opinion, of blight and and slum. It's a new building, and if why are we going to compete with the private sector? If somebody sees value in this property, then they'll come in and buy it. If nobody sees value in this property, there's no urgency for us to acquire it. We might get a better deal in the future. So I just there's a number of concerns I have, not least of which is the allocation of those funds would be it'd be premature because we have no plan for this property. We're not going to tear down a 5-year-old building, so we have to come up with something that fits the existing mold. It's just I don't see a positive to this. I see a lot more negatives than potential positives, I'll say.
All right, open it up to public comment.
Mr. Bernard Wright, 713 Northwest 2nd Street. It's a bit unsettling to hear y'all talk about 416. You know, I was raised, that was Robert E. Wells' property. That was our house before it was taken from us and our family was dispersed. I don't know where my family is now. You know, when my mother died, that was the glue that kept us together, but that house was what kept us together, that property there. That was Robert Wells' property, historic property that you're talking about now. And it's very heartfelt right now and a bit touching the way you're talking about it, because it was a family that was there. That was only about 4, now it's about 104, I don't know, but granted the children, but they're not there and we're not together because you uprooted us. But at any rate, this is the man that you just put signs up, Robert E. Wells, Memorial Avenue. This is a man that, by the grace of God, initiated this historic research project, and now we have a black history in Boynton now to be included in the history books. This is that property. And you're talking about this property in that respect, and we haven't even been compensated. As you took this property from me, you would have never have even known anything about Robert E. Wells or the history of Boynton had I not, by the grace of God, initiated this historic research project. But now that you do, I'm not asking for compensation, but I think in the future I probably will, because you just uprooted my family in that respect. But now, my uncle Glenn Lyons, my uncle through marriage, who have acquired that property, I know the issues and the way it was, handled. But let me just say that the way that property was acquired, no doubt it was acquired underhandedly, illegally, and I have some documented, and I just don't want to go there yet. I'm not prepared. I'm waiting on the season of God to bring this to Boynton's attention. And there's a church there, yes, 5 years old, and I don't know if, Michael, have you talked with Pastor Lyons?
No, Pastor, I don't want to dialogue with you, sir, but Pastor Lyon has not, dialogue with me. I'm just saying my doors are always open. He hasn't. No, sir.
No, okay, no. I was like, no. I was asking Mike.
Mike Simon. Okay.
Yes, Simon.
Sir.
Have you spoken with Pastor Lyons?
Yes, sir, several times over the course of several years. But we just met.
Recently.
Yes, we just met. Yes, in the office. Yes, sir.
How recently have you spoken with him?
I put the agenda item together. I can look at my calendar and let you know exactly.
I'm asking, well, I would think with this on the agenda, he should have been here. Was he even informed? I just happened to be here and saw it on the agenda, knowing what this property means to me. And being it's a church, and I am a minister, and I think I might go in prayer tonight and ask God for the money we need to repurchase that property. To God be the glory. And I think that's the direction I'm going to go in, and I would advise you all and ask you all with an honorable request that you don't even do nothing about that property, but let that building sit there for a minute. Because guess what? That was the house that welcomed everybody that came across that railroad track there, coming into Boynton Beach at Robert E. Wells' place, man. It was just so cordial, hospitable. And guess what? And even the house is not there, it's a church there now to welcome and greet folks there. So, I'm kind of content with that at any rate. But y'all keep me informed on what's going on in that respect with that property. Thank you.
Pierre George, 248 Main Boulevard. Mike, question, has Liz Pendants been filed?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Hey, Mark, I didn't hear what you said.
I asked if Liz Pendants had been filed because that would be the first stage in this going into foreclosure.
Kind of pending. I'm still there. I'm not.
It's a Latin phrase.
Yeah,
Les pendants.
Oh, les pendants. I thought
it's the first. It's
proper.
the first step.
Okay. Yeah,
it's the first step that the bank would do in a foreclosure process.
Okay.
And the reason I asked that is if it had been filed, then the best way that this could be served, to be very candid, would to go through the foreclosure process. Someone would have the opportunity, such as another ministry or another church, to relocate to that and buy it on a very reasonable price, because the bank doesn't want to be in the real estate business. And, so that, I think that would be the best course of action. But since Liz Pendants hasn't been started, so the foreclosure process technically has not been started, maybe there's been a demand letter. I don't know if there has or not. But I would recommend that you let this go. Don't even touch it at this time. Let it go through the process, because there may be parties that are interested in putting a church there. And I can think of two that come to mind off the top of my head. And so that's what I would recommend. Find out if there's a demand letter, see if the bank is starting the Liz Pendants process, and if they're serious about foreclosing. Thank you.
So, from what has been spoken on this item, I'd like to see if anybody would want to table this for 90 days and review it then to see if the bank has done anything, not necessarily to indicate staff to do any work on this, or maybe just get back with us a price.
What's like a normal time period for like the initiation of foreclosure to appointed a potential buyer, whether it's the CRA or someone out there, would enter the process?
Anytime there could be a potential buyer, that supersedes us. However, it's something that we want to keep on our radar, and so I kind of want to say that let's put a date certain that for us to review this in the future.
I'll go ahead and offer a motion to table this for 90 days.
Second.
And let me just confirm with staff and the attorney. That sounds reasonable. That we're just saying we're going to let whatever the bank does or whatever the owner does. We'll let them just let some time pass to see if the bank wants to foreclose. If the owner can find someone else, and
That's fine if you wanted to table the item on the agenda.
Correct. We have the appraised value. So if someone's trying to buy it for more, that doesn't hurt us. And if someone's trying to buy it for an extremely low amount, maybe they would want to come to us to give us that price. So it's I'm not saying that by tabling it, it's still on our agenda for maybe purchase, but we're not going to do anything for 90 days. So it's been motioned and seconded. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, it's been tabled for 90 days, or 3 months. Okay. Discussion direction regarding the disposal of CRA-owned properties located at East MLK Junior Boulevard, Northeast 9th Avenues to St. Paul AME Church of Boynton Beach.
Yes, the CRA was approached by Pastor Robinson with his interest in expansion of his current church facility to the location across the street from where it is currently existing at 315 East Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We being the CRA, own 3 parcels adjacent to property owned by the church, and this item is being brought forth to you to, again, gain direction and your discussion on whether or not this is something that you are interested in entertaining and then moving forward with some type of negotiation or due diligence with the church, similar to the item before. Pastor Robinson.
Mike, before we get into discussion, what
Yes,
are
sir.
these properties appraised at?
I have not expended dollars on appraising ours, but I would imagine with the model block appraisals we're getting through the process of acquisition there, they are ranging somewhere between $35,000 and $46,000 across Seacrest each. With the MUL zoning, it would certainly, I would assume, be in that area, that range. But we are limited from a redevelopment standpoint due to their individual sizes. That's kind of the obstacle from an investment standpoint that we have. They would need to be, I guess, aggregated with other properties to develop them outside of a single-family home.
I would like to hear from Pastor Robinson, and the reason I want to hear from him is because, first of all, the church is going right back what was at present before they rebuilt. It was over there, it was a wooden structure, and
That's
I just
correct.
want to let
That's
you know
right.
that, I am with history. And I want to hear your sense. I know that you all are sincere, but I want this group to hear the sincerity of your plight that you want to do.
Good evening once again, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Reverend Nathaniel Robinson III, senior pastor at Greater St. Paul AME Church, 315 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. As you all know, that Greater St. Paul was the first church in the city of Boynton Beach. 1892. It was founded by Robert and Elizabeth Wells. The initial location was on the northeast corner of Ocean Avenue and Federal Highway. In 1922, when the state of Florida began to enforce the the Segregation Act, our church was lifted by law enforcement, taken to what was Wells Road, what was now known as MLK Boulevard, 10th Avenue, and it was placed in our parking lot. It was there until about 1954, where we moved across the street where our current location is. This is very important to us. Our church is bursting at the seams. We've had to go to 2 services. We're just out of space. We're unable to provide all of the ministries that we want to do because we just don't have anywhere to go. We have people on top of people, and so we're looking to expand our church. The properties that you've been shown are abutted to our property. We can put them all together to build something that will help us. We want to stay in our neighborhood. It would be easy for us to try to pick up and go somewhere else, but we would like to stay in our neighborhood because we've been there for years. You may or may not be aware, but that after the segregation law was enforced, there was no school for the black children to go to. And so Robert Wells, Elizabeth Wells, and the members of our congregation, we petitioned the school board for a teacher. We housed that teacher. Our members of our congregation housed the teacher, fed the teacher, and built the structure on what was then Green Street, and that became the school for the black children. Later, that school became Poinciana Elementary School, which is still in that same space today. The Community Caring Center was founded and established out of our church as well. So we want to stay in our community, want to continue to do what we do. Now, one of the things that I think is important for you to know about the African Methodist Episcopal Church organization is that we're not simply a local organization, but we're an international organization. We have churches in Europe, India, Africa, South America, all throughout the Caribbean, Canada, all over the world. All of the property that we would own, we hold it in trust to the general church. So our general church trustees our property is entrusted to them, which means that if there is some kind of financial crisis, that our general church, which is all over the world, tens of thousands of churches all over the world, we have a contingency plan if there were any issues with finances. But we definitely need to expand so that we can continue the work that we're doing. We also want to share with you that statistically, we're one of the fastest growing churches in the city of Boynton Beach. We've nearly tripled our membership in the last 3 years, and about half of our membership doesn't even live in the city. Or our worshipers, not just our members, but worshipers, they travel from other places, from other counties, from other cities. So whatever development is happening on the Seacrest end of MLK, our people that are worshiping at our church will have to pass that, and our potential people who would patronize whatever businesses are happening in Boynton Beach. So we think this is good, and we are we want to do due diligence. We want to do whatever, get plans and present all of that to you. And we need to know prices, we need appraisals, but we haven't done anything just yet because we need to know if you're willing to allow us to acquire this property.
Irwin, can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
So, if these parcels were conveyed to you, what would you build? A new church and a school? What was the original? What's the plan?
Absolutely, we would build a new church. We would also build a hall that the community would have access to. We would definitely need some classroom spaces for some of our Christian education things that we do. And then the majority of a large part of that space would be parking, because of course we have to meet city codes, but we need to be able to get people in there to park as well.
The parcel where the church sits now, would you keep that church, or would that be raised?
Absolutely. It is our plan to keep that. We would like, since it's the first church in the city of Boynton Beach, we think that it should become a historical site. And then we would also use that space as a chapel, maybe youth church, office space, etc., so that we can continue to expand if we need to.
Thank you.
Pastor Robinson, you said what I needed for this group to hear. That is ordained by the bishops. I'm just saying that it is a trust grant. I'm just saying, like for parcels, okay, an AME church is not like the church that came before us prior.
Right.
You all are an establishment. You are a grassroots, and I'm just saying there's no contingency that if we go forward with this, that you all will fail. There's no reason for you all to fail because the bishop would take your head off. I'm just saying that's
Not only that, Mr. McCray, but our bishop would ensure that we don't lose the property.
Oh, I know.
The African Methodist Episcopal Church is the oldest African American establishment in the history of this country from 1886. So another thing that I think you should know, that in our 200-year history, we've elected 138 bishops, and the 130th bishop is actually a citizen, was raised in the city of Boynton Beach. Bishop John Franklin White. He attended Poinciana Elementary School, was a member of our church, and his siblings are still members here. So it's something that Boynton Beach can be proud of.
And he was a Boy Scout, and he wouldn't let us burn his toes too, okay?
Thank you very much.
Woodrow Hay, 427 Northwest 5th Avenue. I'm just up here in support of this idea that's being brought by Reverend Nathaniel Robinson. As you know, I'm a member of St. John Missionary Baptist Church, and they are St. Paul AME. It doesn't make a difference. We are sister churches. We work together on many projects, and it would behoove the commission here, this panel, to grant this because it's an improvement to the community. That property has been sitting for years and years undeveloped, and has become an eyesore because whatever way the paper and trash gets on it, it's a problem to keep it clean. And here we have an opportunity to enhance that particular parcel. And I think it would be an excellent move on the part of this commission and for the city to enhance that property. And there will be now multiple places other than just St. John Fellowship Hall where we house a lot of different meetings. But they're going to build probably another fellowship hall that would be in conjunction with us. We could even have major events, piping information as an overflow to that fellowship hall. So I see nothing but a win-win here for the church as well as Boynton Beach as a whole. So please consider that. Thank you.
Here at Georgia 248 Main Boulevard. I come in support of Pastor Robinson's proposal. To assemble this land, you would actually have to do a project in this area. You would actually have to purchase land from the church to make it a viable project. So the church getting this property and actually purchasing this property, Mike is right with the numbers based on the market analysis. It is in that range. I think it would be a little less than Model Block, but it's still in the same range. I want to point out a few things about St. Paul AME. 3 weeks ago, after worshiping at St. John's, I went to Pastor Robinson's church. And it was so packed, I couldn't even get in. I had to park almost over at Tommy Brown's church on 12th, and then I had to walk over, and then when I got there, it was so crowded, I couldn't even go in. He is literally busting at the seams, okay? It is, and he's right, it is the fastest growing church. One of the other things is Pastor Robinson has done in his tenure there exceptional work in the community. When the heinous shooting in South Carolina in that church where that nut went off and killed those people, that was an AME church. And Pastor Robinson and his congregation prayed. They also raised funds, and they were a comfort. And I believe you did have a couple parishioners that went over into South Carolina as well. Pastor Robinson also has led relief efforts for Haiti over the years. In fact, there are AME churches that are sister city type of churches with Pastor Robinson's church. The other factor is, and it's already been stated, is the historical nature. You don't get anything more historical in this city than that church. And so I would encourage you to do your diligence, okay, on this first, Mike, to go forward, do formal appraisals, whether it be Anderson Carr or whoever, but to do those appraisals, get a true market value, and then start negotiations with Pastor Robinson and his board, because that would be the proper thing to do, and it would be the right thing to do. Thank you.
As a sitting representative for this district, I'm just saying I will applaud you all for not wanting to move out of this district. I'm just saying we need all the help that we can get. I'm just saying we'll be talking about bury the violence, stop the violence, etc. You know, this is a plus. I do know that you all are a viable institution for this.
3 minutes is up.
A viable institution for this city, and I'm just saying, and I'm glad that you all are busting at the seams, mean that there's more people that's coming, you know, to know our risen Savior, and I'm going to go ahead and say it like it's supposed to be said, you know, and want to turn from their wicked ways and want to be saved. I'm positive that this is going to be another positive. I'm glad you're putting the church back where y'all tore the first one down. I used to go over there. It was a wooden church. I'm just saying, you know, I do know history, and I'm just saying, when y'all said y'all wanted to go back, it's like going back home. I'm totally in favor. Thank you.
Okay. I got Pastor Robinson. Would you mind coming up? I just got a quick question for you. There are 2 more vacant lots just to the west of you. Have you reached out to them to see about purchasing that property as well, just to make it that much more grander, or is that something not? Yeah, is that something you've looked into?
We have not, but we are interested.
Okay. And so there's one. What is it? Where's the detail? Yeah, there's 2 properties to the west of it. One's owned by Sarah and Perstine Williams. The other one's owned by Christina, the estate of Christina Deal.
Yes.
And so, you know, based upon what it was said, you know, there's really no reason to not give you what you want. One of the things that I was hoping is that I actually use your parking lot to cut through sometimes. So I hope you don't mind that.
You won't be able to do that anymore.
Yeah. I noticed that there's also a house on the northeast 9th. Is that going to still be there?
No, that will eventually become a part of the parking area.
Okay. And so, do you plan on having any residential or commercial aspects on the property?
No.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Pastor Robinson, what would be your timeline if everything went smoothly? What would the timeline? Would you have to? Obviously, you'd have to have like fundraisers and such to.
Yeah, we that's really far out, but
Right.
we think that it's something that we can accomplish within 3 years.
Okay.
From start to finish. I mean, we can be in the building in 3 years.
I'm in favor of this. I think you're a cornerstone of the community, and any church that's been moved twice, I don't think needs to be moved again.
Thank you.
So I'm in favor of it. I just got a quick question. How many churches do we actually have on Martin Luther King? Do we know that?
Over 6.
I think right on Martin Luther King, I think just 2 right on the street.
We got more than that. There's St. Cuthbert's
Yep.
Episcopal.
That's right.
There you have yours. You have the Deliverance by Faith.
Right, that's the one that they want us to buy.
Then there's the Good Samaritan.
Okay.
That's 4. And is there one next?
That's
and the
one.
Deliverance by.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Good Samaritan is on the corner down there. That's right.
And the DJV developments. No, that's not it. So
there's one that sits all the way down on the end.
Oh, there's on the other side of Seacrest.
No, it's not on the other side. It's right on the end. Anyway, it's 5. I know it's 5.
Okay.
Might not be 5 functioning, but there's 5. And I'm glad you all want to do something with the CRA property, because they're forever telling us that, you know, we are not good stewards of keeping our property mode. Okay. Maybe we can get rid of that. Thank you.
I make a motion. Make a motion, or
Yeah, make a motion to direct staff to do an appraisal and get.
I direct the staff to have an appraisal done of these 2 properties and negotiate with the Reverend Robinson.
Second motion.
All right.
I'd like to add, I just want to say that I am all in favor of removing some blight and also saving souls in the process. So,
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, direction to staff is given.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consideration of purchase and sale agreement between the CRA and the owners of the property located at 128 Northwest 11th Avenue.
This property at 128 Northwest 11th Avenue is part of the model block project area. It is currently in the process with the city of obtaining the 30-foot right-of-way dedication and the 10-foot easement for redevelopment of Northwest 11th Avenue under the design of the approved model block project. This is just one more acquisition for the city and the CRA in obtaining sites for new single-family homes within the model block project. As you know, that's underway and being very successful at this point. The CRA would be purchasing the balance of the property that is not being purchased by the city for the roadway improvements at a cost of $32,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mike, I'm looking at this, and correct me if I'm wrong. Assessed value, $8,785. Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
Yes, the tax appraiser is looking at the value of the property for only as it existed prior without a sale since. The appraisals that were done by the city for the properties as part of the eminent domain for the roadway are up to date based on sales of existing properties within the community. We're relying our value on that appraisal.
That's what, 46?
Yes, sir. We're paying by
We're
the
paying 48.
2000. Yes, sir.
Just to educate me, this is not the same home with all those statues and stuff? No, this is different.
That's the Newton residence.
That's the
the Newton residence. These are vacant lots. We own everything to the other than the Evans property. The CRA and the city own all of the parcels now, and we'll be moving forward with those redevelopment. As we find buyers and continue with the road work. And
we own properties that abut this property at this time? No.
Yeah.
I don't.
On the east side, if you look at the next page, you have the aerial that just identifies the single property,
Right.
and the next page of the presentation identifies the individually owned parcels, whether they be the faith-based CDC, which those red parcels now have
Okay, I
homes
got it.
on
Yep.
them. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
All right. Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. The CRA Advisory Board. She just wrote out the report?
She just provided this is the same document that she provided the CRA Board as part of their backup. We're presenting that to you as a report from the board chair, the advisory board chair, sharing that with you as well.
So she gave a presentation to the community, the CRA Board?
Yes, sir. She just did a summary of the 8-page report that she provided on her attendance at the FRA and just some high points and how grateful she was to have attended that. She's not available. She's out of town this evening.
Okay.
Also, with her being grateful, I'm just saying it was nice to hear that she, came back with a lot of knowledge. That's what I wanted to hear, that, it wasn't just a vacation. It was there to learn and observe. And one of our own members was there, and I'm just saying that it was fruitful. That's and beneficial. That's what I need to hear.
Yep, she did her homework.
And she, very well did. We all attended a lot of those sessions, and we all learned a lot. And I'm glad to see that she was able to submit that to us here. I honestly feel like it's an understatement that there was so much more that words could not capture that we were able to capture at that training event. So it was very beneficial. Thank you, board, for allowing me to go and for allowing the advisory board to go as well.
Pending items, there's no recommendations to do anything, so they'll come back with a report for us.
For the city services, yes.
The survey and the...
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, right. The city survey, And then the item of the new assignment, which you'll get to, I presume, which is the 29
And then
recommendations.
the new assignment as well regarding the review of the 29 recommendations. I guess that will go to pending, I guess.
Sure.
And then, Board Member Romulus, you said you had something else?
Yes, I'd like to add the advisory board be able to draft or improve on the current CBA that we have using some other resources like some nearby CRAs. We met several CRAs during the FRA conference, so I know that they can kind of glean from them some good hearty CBA wording in order to really give us some more teeth, as some of the members here asked for in a CBA for the future to be used.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea because we never actually had a CBA agreement with the CRA, so just get with us a clean language CBA without all the cross off and the changes.
May I ask, would the board like legal to attend the meeting where they discuss that?
Certainly.
Please.
Yes.
Correct. And so I guess we'll ask for certain clauses they'll recommend certain clauses for legal to put in to the CBA.
We'll present other best practices documents and formulate that suggestions from them. Maybe have, as Board Member Romulus suggested, having one of them, the Overtown CRA, come in, maybe do a presentation, certainly obtain materials from them if they're able to come and speak to them on what they did, what they learned, and from their process, and try to incorporate some of that into the agreement. It's a good time to do the review while we're waiting for the new ROC outcome, of the tax credits.
Okay, and we have consensus for that?
Yes.
All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
If I may, we went over the executive director report. I wanted to let you know that the CRA staff is working incredibly hard, this season as we go into our events and the development. Obviously, with the transitions in the office, everybody has just really risen to the occasion. One of the things that the board had approved was the position for a administrative assistant that's in your org chart. You approved the budgeting for. I am bringing this to you tonight because we are in the process of conducting interviews for that position, and the budget for the position was approved at the minimum salary, and without any type of ability to range that in a negotiation, let's say, with a candidate that exceeded qualifications, or as we begin to discuss these types of subjects with our interviewees, we're beginning to see that we are under at the minimum. That's why it's the minimum. And I am requesting the ability to float a negotiation of salary up to a max of 40. It is of there's no financial impact to the CRA as a budgetary line item. We have not had the position in operation drawing from that line item for the last 3 months.
Okay.
And the cost, the incremental cost of that ability, whether it be $1,000 or $5,000, the max ends up with really even a savings of $3,500 by the end of the fiscal year. So rather than have to come back to you for approval at a range, I'm seeking your direction for the authority to have some flexibility in that.
What's that minimum number now, Michael?
35,000.
35, and you're asking us to go up to 40?
Yes, sir. To have the ability to offer more than the minimum if that's what a candidate that was exceptional and deserved the ability
Is this a full-time position?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Position?
I'm in favor of it, but I'm just saying, if you find somebody that qualified, although we're saving money and stuff, just pick up the phone and say, I don't mind, listening to what you're saying,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and my next take is that in regards to Chris, are you filling that position?
Yes, we're advertising for the special events coordinator. We're issuing that either tomorrow or Monday. But we are on top of that as well.
All right, and can you send us an email when you issue that out?
Yes,
Thank you.
I certainly will.
Right, the next question is that they talked about how overwhelmed and swamped you are. You holding up. I don't want you to drop dead on us. I'm just saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
I am. Thank you.
Good job, well
Thank
done.
you for your support as well.
All right.
you.
Now, can I get the motion? And yeah,
You
that's
probably
it. There's
shouldn't
no
have.
more executive. Anything from legal?
You want
Okay.
a motion?
Yeah, anything from legal? You're good?
No, you're good. The direction is fine because it's not a budget amendment. So
All
we're
right.
good. I apologize.
No worries. Motion to adjourn. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye.